All right, I'd like to call the City of West Bend Planning Commission to order and acknowledge we do have a quorum. We have 3 commissioners missing. Sheriff Sarah Fleischman, Jed Dolnick, and Chris Jenkins are all absent and excused. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Item number 3 is the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting, October 1st, 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? Motion carries. Item number 4, development proposals under A1 conditional use permits. CU-19-006, public hearing for the consideration of a conditional use permit to allow a mobile food vendor at 2415 West Washington Street by Kane & Kane Jewelers, applicant James Kane and Jennifer Kane, and a presentation by Business and Development Planner Jim Rinke. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening, everyone. This conditional use permit is a request from Kane & Kane Jewelers. They're requesting the permit for a mobile food truck operation at their location. They provided a site sketch along with a business operations letter. They're planning to allow a single food truck to occupy one of the parking stalls at the northwest corner of the building. The hours of operations for those various food trucks that could come on site would be during the regular business operations of the jewelry store. The sales activities would all occur from the food truck, and then the refuse generated from this would be deposited in the dumpster on site of the development. 17 parking stalls and a barrier-free parking stalls are provided on site. Staff has reviewed the proposal and feels that the mobile food vendor would be an acceptable use. Class 2 public notice has been published in the paper, along with notifications mailed out to property owners within 200 feet, and staff has not received any inquiries, comments, or concerns regarding the request. If the Plan Commission finds the conditional use to be acceptable, staff would recommend approval with the 4 listed conditions that we had.
Thank you, Jim. Since this is a public hearing, is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak regarding this? If so, please step up to the podium and give us your name and address.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any comments or questions? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? Motion carries. If there's no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion on the item.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? Motion carries. A2, CU 19-007, public hearing for the consideration of a conditional use permit to allow the construction and grading of an open-air recreational shelter within the floodplain storage zone district located near the northeast corner of 800 North Main Street by the fishing pond south of Park Avenue in Regner Park by the West Bend Park and Recreation and Forestry Department. Applicant, Cindy Linus. Presentation by Jim Renke.
Thank you. The Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department has submitted a conditional use permit and a site plan for the Kiwanis Shelter, which is to be located at the northwest end of the fishing pond, north of City Park Drive, south of Park Avenue there. The conditional use request is required under the zoning code for accessory structures that are designed for non-human habitation within the floodplain district. The Parks Department is planning to construct an open-air recreational structure. The structure is going to be 30-foot wide and a hexagonal structure constructed at grade on a concrete slab. They are planning electrical equipment at some point in time within that structure, and they've already made provisions to have those utilities 2 foot above the 100-year floodplain elevation for floodproofing. A Class 2 public notice was published in the paper. No notifications were sent out since the area in question for the conditional use is all within city lands and does not reach out to any other lands beyond city property. So staff has received no inquiries on the public notice or any comments or questions regarding the project. And staff would recommend approval of both the conditional use and the site plan as present, or with the listed conditions.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Again, since this is a public hearing, anybody in the audience wanting to speak to this matter, please step up to the podium, give us your name and address.
Move to approve to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same side, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion on the item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the item. Any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign, motion carries. Good luck with your shelter, Sydney. Development proposals B, site plans. B1 SP 19031, site plan for an open-air recreational shelter in Regner Park, 800 North Main Street by the West Bend Parks, Recreation and Forestry Department. And again, applicant is Sidney Linus. Jim?
Again, this is just a follow-up. This is the actual site plan for the structure, as I described before. And it's, again, proposed within that floodplain area, and it's going to be an open-air 30-foot diameter structure.
Anybody have any questions for Jim? If not, I'll entertain a motion on the item.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there's anybody have any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign, motion carries. B2 SP 19032, site plan for architectural facade update, 235 North 18th Avenue by Christy K. Wick, Lion Smith Holdings, applicant Christy K. Wick, and agent J. Patrick Stores. And a presentation by Jim.
Thank you. River Shores Chiropractic Clinic is looking to update their building. They're proposing to do exterior renovations to the building along with interior renovations. The 0.9 acre parcel is zoned B5, which is our neighborhood business district, which conforms to the use conforms to that district. A parking calculation has been provided for this change of use out there, which was originally a dental clinic, and the adequate parking is provided for the new use. The architectural building elevations provided in the packet indicate that the building will be modified by replacing the stucco with hardy plank siding. They're also going to be removing or changing the front entranceway, or removing the castle rooftop and replacing that with a different rooftop along with windows, and having a metal standing seam roof. The entrance will be modified to have also another roof added onto that, defining that entranceway. Staff would recommend approval of the site plan as presented.
Any questions for Jim? If not, we'll entertain a motion on the item.
Motion approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same side? Motion carries. Looking forward to see what the new building looks like.
Yes.
B3 is SP 19033, site plan for a transfer loading operation area for bulk materials at 1095 East Roscoe Drive by Steve Herr, Glacier State Distribution Services Incorporated, applicant Brian Buchanan, agent Stephen Herr. Jim?
Thank you. Glacier Stone and Mulch of Kenosha is presented a site plan for a transloading and unloading area located on East Roscoe Drive. The lot is zoned M2 heavy industrial. And distribution and wholesaling of stone materials are permitted under this zoning district. The owner has, or I should say the occupant has provided an operations letter explaining the site improvements proposed on the site. They're proposing 11 bins that are 22 foot wide by 36 feet deep, and then also one bin that is 44 foot wide and 36 foot deep. These bins would be constructed out of concrete blocks for the storage of stone materials. The equipment needed to unload the rail cars and to load the trucks would be stored on site. And the site plan also identifies a gate that will be installed approximately 170 feet from the Roscoe Drive right away. A truck scale would be installed on site just west of the bins for weighing the trucks. The site plan also identifies screening being provided along that northwest edge of the site to help screen the use from the existing farm that is located to the north. The operations letter did identify that there's a possibility of being salt unloaded there. If this would occur, the road salt would need to be unloaded directly, and if open storage would occur, then we would need additional measures for controlling the salt runoff compliant with the DNR requirements. Staff would recommend approval of the site plan with the listed conditions.
Anybody have any questions for Jim?
Jim, that existing blacktop driveway there, that's what they're using then? There's like a drive there right now, is that correct?
Yeah, there's an existing curb cut or approach there.
Right.
That leads down back to the south.
That would be the entrance?
That's the
exit.
exit.
Access is the same, okay.
Yep, that's the entrance there.
I do have a comment with the usage of salt. I want to reinforce the fact that if there is salt being used there, we want to make sure that the containers are covered. We want to avoid the dispersion of chlorides. If it rains and that water loaded with salt gets to the pond and eventually into the environment. So that's one thing we would want to see is the salt containers to be covered on site.
If there's no other comments or questions, entertain a motion on the item.
Make a motion to approve with Max's change for making sure the salt is covered.
Second?
I have a motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Motion carries. Under 4C, temporary use permits. Number 1, request a temporary use permit to allow sales of Christmas trees, wreaths, decorative Christmas season greens on the grassy area within the southwesterly section of the threshold 2354 and 2380 West Washington Street by Nathan Newman, Blooming Acres, applicant John Bohr, Threshold Incorporated, agent Nathan Newman, Blooming Acres. Jim?
Thanks. Blooming Acres has, again, this year submitted a temporary use permit for Christmas tree sales located on the Threshold property at the far south end of their property in an undeveloped grass area. Due to the duration of the temporary use, a site plan approval was needed prior to granting them the permit for the temporary use. The sales area is 156 by 120 fenced-in area. The temporary use would be approximately 7 weeks starting on November 14th going through January 2nd of 2020. The hours of operations would be from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. Temporary lighting is provided on the site within the fenced-in area. All of the activities for the temporary use would be within the fenced-in area. And the applicant is not proposing any other signage to advertise for his business. Any wear and tear to the turf due to the temporary use would be restored by May 15th of 2020. And the existing pine trees that are within that grassed area will be protected by snow fencing and posts. Staff would recommend approval of the temporary use with the listed conditions.
Anybody have any questions for Jim?
Hey, Jim, quick question. Just curious, this has nothing to do with Steins, correct?
Correct. This is
I just-
an independent contractor that works with the threshold.
I just saw they were, the manager of Steins was copied on the,
Yeah, we've done that as a courtesy. There was, some issues in the past, so.
I know they were here last year, sort of contesting it, but just curious.
Yep, so every year we just notify them to put them on notice.
Okay.
And this, the same person as last year that rented the spot? Is it same people?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve with
Second.
your conditions.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? Motion carried. Item D, extraterritorial certified survey map. Under number 1, XCSM-19-016, create one lot at 5863 South Church Road, approximately half a mile south of Evergreen Drive in the town of Trenton by James Schmidt. Applicant James Schmidt and agent Don Thoma. And a presentation by Jim.
Thanks. The extraterritorial certified survey map is located approximately a mile east of the city corporate limits on the west side of South Church Road, just south of Evergreen Drive. The purpose of the CSM is to combine two parcels into one lot. The CSM is not within our sewer service boundary, but it is within our planning area and is identified as single-family residential and open space in our 2020 comprehensive plan. The 1.8 acre site or lot has an existing house and a shed. The CSM identifies a 33-foot right-of-way dedication for Church Road. A 17-foot right-of-way or a 7-foot right-of-way reservation is needed in accordance with the city's official map for Church Road. Along with that, the CSM would also need to be revised to add the city's airport height restriction limit and also the city's signature certificate on that second page. Staff would recommend approval of the CSM with the condition that we have the right-of-way reservation provided along with the 2 technical corrections for the airport height and the signature certificate.
Any questions for Jim? If not, entertain a motion on the item.
Go ahead, Brittany. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Motion carries. Being no further business before the planning commission, I hereby adjourn. Good night, everyone.